There are a lot of terms flying around from school consolidation to school reorganization. What is the correct terminology for this initiative?
The correct term is reorganization. This is not about closing schools, and that's been one of the fears and misinterpretations. Folks have initially said, well, my child's going to have to travel an extra hour because we're going to consolidate schools. We are reorganizing the structure for schools. So instead of having, currently we have 156 superintendents, we will drop to 80 superintendents. Instead of having 290 school boards, we'll have 80 school boards. So it's the structure of administration that we are reorganizing. We provided protections to keep schools open, and that's a real key important part of this law.
Now, Governor Baldacci has stated that eliminating the administrative redundancy will reduce cost, benefiting taxpayers. How sizable will that reduction be?
It's a significant reduction. We actually provided documentation. We have proposed almost $60 million in savings that can be achieved by reorganizing administration, looking also at how transportation is delivered, facilities, maintenance and operation, as well as special education. And most of that is the structure by which we operate. And we believe that those savings can actually increase over the next 3 years so that ultimately the savings will be close to $180 million.
Now, when you have the two districts, two larger districts, and they merge, will one of the superintendents become the assistant superintendent?
It actually will depend on the new school board. And they might, as they merge, they might make that agreement that that's a logical way to go forward. Ultimately, you'll create a new superintendent structure, and you might, as a school district, open that up to the best candidate. And it will depend on how large the district is, whether or not there's an assistant superintendent. In some instances, there might be a curriculum director instead of an assistant, but there is no guarantee to the individuals who are currently in those jobs that they will remain in those positions. In most cases, the new school district will advertise for that superintendent, hire the best candidate, and the new school board will select those folks.
Would it be just switching job titles if the districts do decide to do that, to where you have a superintendent and another position created for that other superintendent?
It shouldn't be. The intent of the law is that you look at your current structure. If you have two large districts, two superintendents, two business offices, folks who are doing payroll, billing, all of those functions are duplicated. The intent is that you merge those functions and that you streamline by reducing the number of employees who are also doing those functions. So it's not just about renaming. There is a provision in the law that perhaps says to folks that it's about renaming. There's a protection. If you have a contract, the new school district has to honor that contract for the life of the contract. But it gives permission in the law that I can reassign you to a new job that's open in the district. So it's not just renaming, it's honoring what you have negotiated, but it gives flexibility to the new school district.
Okay. David Galley, co-chair for our local regional reorganization planning committee, stated on this program that the money savings will not be there initially, but may come in time. Can you comment on that statement?
Well, it really does depend on how much latitude the school boards have. As I mentioned, if you have a contract, two superintendents, one may be reassigned to a principalship. So it may take a little while to actually realize all the savings by reducing to one superintendent. If you have folks that work in a superintendent's office, very often they don't have the same level of contracts. You should be able to downsize there and recoup some savings. We're also working at the state level to help the districts that I think might help your regional planning committee. Some of the costs that central offices see are in financial operations. We're going to propose a streamlined statewide system to host all the financial systems. That'll save every district about $50,000 a year. So when we are able to present those options, I think you will find there will be savings.
Now, if people wanted to know more information on this reorganization plan, what could they do?
If you go to the Department of Education's website, immediately there's a link to all the reorganization. There's a connection to the law, there's a Q&A section, there's background material that talks about each of the components, how citizens can get involved, what the benefits might be, the financial analysis that we did and provided to the legislature is there. Just about anything you can think of. A model new system administration office, there's an example based on actual operations here in Maine.
Now, even though there are years to go, do you have any future plans after the governor's last term in office?
Well, my goals when I leave will be to continue work in education, probably as a consultant in a variety of different ways. It's going to be hard to step back. There's still a lot of work still to do. So I'm focused on the next 3 years and wanting to make sure that there's ample time. I have some real strong feelings about high schools and some changes that I'm going to propose to the legislature that I want to see come together. And I'm sure that work will continue even after the governor is completed his term.
Would you like to talk about some of those initiatives that you're working on?
I'd be happy to. One of the major concerns that we've had when the legislature passed the Maine learning results back in 1997, one of the major goals was that the high school diploma would have common meaning. And if you think about your program offering here at Thornton Academy, and if you visit and talk to friends in other high schools throughout the state, I'm sure you're always amazed at, wow, we don't have that, or that's different than what we offer here. We looked at over 100 programs of studies across the state of Maine. And if you think about Maine's learning results in mathematics in particular, in order to be able to meet those standards, you have to have mathematical experiences in statistics, in probability, real strong foundation in algebra. I can show you high school programs of studies where students never have the opportunity to take any algebra. And that's my response as well. That's a great concern. We want to make sure that all students in Maine have equitable opportunities to be able to learn all that they can learn. So I'm actually proposing a new process by which we would have a chance to review the high school programs of studies, give feedback to teachers and to the high schools with an external review process that would include high school faculty across the state, college professors, business partners, and to ensure that what's being offered gives that opportunity. We also want to make sure that our young people who are taking courses at our career technical centers are able to receive credit and acknowledgement of the standards that they achieve in those programs. I'll give you an example of Lewiston, Maine. The Career Technical Center offers a nationally ranked engineering program. The students there take advanced calculus, advanced physics. They only get elective credit. No credit for the math or the science. So those are some things that I want to try to clean up and make sure that we're providing opportunities for our students to really engage in diverse learning opportunities, and to prepare our students so that every student can graduate college, career, and citizenship ready.
Wrapping up our time together, what would you say to a struggling high school student on the verge of dropping out to stay in school?
Oh, it is so essential for our students to graduate not only with a high school diploma, but to be able to have the tools necessary to go on to post-secondary education. If you think about your earning power as a employed worker in the future, our high school dropouts earn significantly less. And the jobs of the future are going to require, in most instances, at least a 2 years, either technical degree or an associate's degree. And so their ability to access the jobs that will be in Maine will be very limited if they drop out. I would encourage them to talk with folks to look at alternative program, maybe look at the Career Technical Center, hands-on types of opportunities. And if they ultimately did drop out, I would always encourage them to stay connected and look at what adult education is providing, because you should always be thinking about, how do I advance? You have some wonderful resources here in your area, And so don't get discouraged. Talk to folks. Think about what might, and we as adults should be asking the student who's frustrated, what can we do to help re-engage you? What might be of an interest that would keep you in school, and let us be creative about trying to offer some programming that will help to solidify that interest in school.
Thank you so much for coming on the program.
My pleasure.